Hello, everyone, and welcome to our creepy panel. What did it call? Sorry about that. Cut, redo. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our creepy panel Halloween special live show. I'm Carlito Castro, your host, and thank you all for coming in. I hope you enjoy this show tonight because we got a great one for you guys. And we're all wearing creepy masks. As you can see myself, turn this down. As you can see myself, I have a Grim Reaper mask on tonight. Anyway, well, we're gonna get everybody in the studio now. So let me go ahead and bring everybody in. Okay, I'm gonna be bringing them in one by one. And thank you everybody tonight for showing up. It's gonna be a great show. I know you're gonna love it. I know you're gonna enjoy it. All right. So let's get first in here the Squatch Father Al Santa Rica. Yeah. Hey, what's going on? Awesome.
Thank
That's
you,
awesome.
Carlito, for inviting me.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Hey, okay. Let me thank you, Al, for being here tonight, man. I appreciate you, brother. Let me get Count Sius in here next. Hello.
Good evening. How's everyone doing today? Did you
Yes,
invite me in to your home? I
yes.
just need you to invite me.
Welcome to our humble abode. All right. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, brother. And who else we got up on the All Star lineup here? Let me see. I think we got a very special guest with us tonight, guys. I guess the Squatch Father Al Sanariga is a mystery person because he must be on the other camera. Yeah, I think I recognize Al here. Let's check this out.
I'm calling bullshit.
Oh, we got Alfred
That's
Sanariga, the
my
Squatch Father.
doppelganger.
I'm Alfonso, the Squatch Father. Santa Riga is Al's twin brother. A couple years old, younger than him.
Awesome.
Call bullshit. Call bullshit. Thanks for having me on, Faizan. Uh,
That is awesome, brother. That's awesome, man.
good to see
Brian
everyone.
Yeah,
gets
Good to
Brian
chat.
gets a 10.
that was a great idea, man. I would have
Great
never seen that
costume,
coming.
bro.
I never saw that coming. I think I remember you mentioning it one time, but I was like, oh, he's just kidding. He has to be kidding.
No, I didn't start this. So I started with the I'm going as Brian Boat and the scariest thing. Okay, I'm going as Al Santa Riga. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go as Al Santa Riga. But I went Alfonso Santa Riga, not to be Al Santa Riga.
Right. That's
Ooh,
awesome,
you got
brother. That's
Dogman.
awesome.
Somebody has Dogman in the house. Nice. What's up, Steve?
Hey,
What up,
Steve.
Steve,
Todd?
Steve Riley is in the
Paranormal
house.
fan.
Paranormal fan 11.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We have
Welcome.
one more coming
Welcome.
in, but we don't know when he's gonna get here.
Yeah. We got one more special invite. You guys know Shane from West Coast Dogman Project. He's gonna be here shortly. He's probably on his way home from work right now because he's in California time, which is a lot earlier. So yeah, he should be here any minute, guys. And, welcome everybody. Todd, Steve, Paranormal fan. Thank you
Yep.
guys for being here. Early birds. Cool. So hey guys, where do y'all want to start off at? Do
Start
y'all want
off.
to do like scary encounters, personal encounters that y'all had, or maybe some ghost stories that from someone else or something like that? What do you
I
guys
got
think?
I got a good one to start off with,
Okay,
Carlito.
all
There
right.
you go.
1984.
God, I wish
Five.
it was back.
1985. I'm living in Bridgeport, Connecticut, in my brother's attic. and I have my own apartment, and I hear scurrying in the wall. And I think it must be animals, a squirrel or something. But I notice behind my couch is a tiny little door, like 1.5 by 1.5. Now, I've never opened that door for no reason. There was never no, and I made sure I put my couch up against it so it wouldn't open. So one day this was going on, and every night I would hear scurrying in there, and I would hear like dolls, you know, the kind of dolls you pull the string and they talk, and I would hear that. So one day I couldn't take it anymore, and I moved the couch and I opened the door, and I was way too big to get in, but my father was he was going through cancer and he had lost a lot of weight. He was real skinny. So my brother and me, we put my father in that little doorway, and he crawled into this crawl space, and he pulled out all these children toys, crazy children toys, stuff that didn't need batteries, like from back in the 50s, right? And then we started to research the house, and we found out that the people who owned the house back in the 50s had two mongoloid children that they hid up in the attic, and they put them in this little cupboard, like a crawl space, so people wouldn't see them look out the window. And those two children's ghosts were still in that crawl space. True story, honest to God. My father was pulling stuff out of there. He was like, "What the hell is this? A doll, a little girl's doll, a little boy's doll, and fire trucks, and just all kinds of stuff." It was crazy. And that crawl space went back like 50 feet. It was nuts, man. Just absolutely nuts. My brother used to say the attic was haunted, but I thought he was just messing with me, you know? But it was true. It was haunted.
Wow.
That's crazy stuff. But I got to do this.
I'm calling bullshit.
As a
Don't keep
matter
a character.
As a matter of fact, when I was dating my wife, she slept over one night and she heard it in the wall. And she's like, "What the hell's going on in that wall?" You know? And I said, "Oh, it's just squirrels and raccoons. Don't worry about it." She would have never slept over ever again.
Dude, that's what, so like 50 feet straight back?
Dude, it was a tiny little door and it went straight back, you know, like on an A-frame house.
Yeah.
Well, the part of the A-frame was cut off, right? So it had like its own little room off a room, and it was this tiny, like a 2 foot by 1.5 door that they put the kids in at night to put them to sleep. They were like little dog beds back there where the kids would sleep on.
You think they killed them there, or they died?
No,
or
I don't.
that was just their play area.
Yeah, I don't know if the children, you know, died in the house. I honestly don't know that, but we believe that you know, back then the parents were embarrassed about those, you know, handicapped children and stuff like that, and they hid them away, and they just hid these two little kids away in this crawl space in the attic. It was crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was nuts.
That is
You
crazy.
should have seen all the crap my father pulled out of there, man. It was he even pulled out like a fish tank that they would have like maybe gerbils in or something. You know what I mean? They had all kinds of crap in that little crawl space.
Maybe it was being haunted by the gerbils.
All I know is when I moved into that apartment and I see that little door, I said, "Okay, the couch is going right up against that."
Yeah, cover that.
I wasn't gonna look in there. I didn't want to know what was in there, and that door was never gonna open with my fat ass on the couch.
That's crazy.
Crazy,
That is
crazy.
insane. Like,
What about you, Abe? You got any cool ghost stories or something like that, man?
Yes.
All right.
I remember back in Transylvania when I was a kid. Yes, I remember me and my brother, we were fighting. We used to fight at nighttime all the time. Yeah, I were really getting into fist fights with my brother. We're like 1 year apart. And my mother, she got mad at us, and she said, "Keep on fighting. The cosa mala's coming. The cosa mala's gonna come because you're fighting, which means the bad one's coming." So she got tired of us fighting, and she told us go to the store, and it was like around 10:30 at night.
Oh wow.
So we were kind of scared of the dark
How
because
old were you, Abe?
when we were fighting, probably between 5 and 6 years old, we
And
had
you were
those
going to
bikes.
the store at 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, with the banana seats. Remember those bikes?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh
Hush
Well,
bike,
yeah.
baby.
and with the big
Dixie bar.
handlebars.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
there,
those were called choppers, weren't they?
yeah.
I think.
yeah. Well, my brother was bigger than me, so he was pedaling, and I was in the back, like standing on the little pegs.
Hmm.
So he was pedaling us, and when we started leaving the house, this dark shadow started came from the yard and started running behind us, and I was looking
Oh.
back, and he was running, and I was telling my brother, something is behind us, the cosa mala's behind us. It was like a little shadow, like a shadow of I would say like a kid, but he was running right behind us. It looked like it had little horns and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
So my brother started pedaling. We were all scared. We made it to the store. The store was like maybe 2.5 blocks away. So we went to the store, and then like I wonder if it stopped following us, right? So we got the what mom told us to get from the store. So we're going real slow because we're looking through the shadows. We're not even riding the bike. We're going real slow. So it's like, oh, it's gone, it's gone. So we get on the bike again. We start riding home. He comes out of nowhere and starts chasing us. Man, we were pedaling home, and we jumped off the bike, ran inside the house, and my mom was laughing. She said, "I told you, if you keep on fighting, that the evil one's gonna come for y'all." Yeah, and
That's
ever since
crazy.
then, man, uh, we stopped fighting because of what we witnessed. Yeah, my mom had a saying, where there's anger and hatred, evil comes. Or another saying, like for example,
Yeah.
she would say in Spanish, "Casa limpia, cosa buena; casa mugrosa, cosa mala." Clean house, good things. A dirty house, bad things. But
Yeah.
yes, that's why I always talk about. I always went to the Love Foundation because it scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. And
Ah,
till this day, if I anger and stuff, I see that kind of thing surface up, but it's not small no more. It's pretty tall.
So
When
yeah, I would bet you guys like when they tell you, "Hey, Abe, go run out and get some beers." You're like,
uh, yeah, I ignore 'em now. Like I ignore 'em now. Like if I see them because they do appear, or it appears, but it's more than one. I just ignore them. Sometimes they come to the peripheral vision. I was at a dance, like maybe 2 months ago. Me and my wife were dancing, and as I was feeling her, I seen the dark, but it's huge now. Dark shadow standing right there by the side of the dance floor, and it's looking at me, and I'm looking, and it's looking at me. But I had my protection around my neck. I had my black tourmaline and selenite.
right,
So I looked at it back, and it just disappeared. Like it faded out. But where we had the dance, Elms Grove was maybe I would say like a mile away. But the creek that runs through Elms Grove ran by it was a VFW. It ran right by it. So I believe it was the activity from over there that followed me there. It's like once you brush against them, they know who you are and you know who they are because they'll show themselves to you.
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Hey, it's funny that Abe was mentioning that because I've heard like throughout the years, man, like when you bring anger to your house or when you bring some time like you're fighting with your spouse or whatever, you kind of accidentally conjure like a bad spirit or a bad something. I've even heard this with cryptids, y'all. I've heard it with cryptids, people fighting and stuff, and then a cryptid comes to where they're at and scares the hell out of them, and then they're like, oh shoot,
I
and
think
they even say it. I wonder if it was because we were fighting. Did we draw that bad energy in or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's anger, and then
Yeah.
when you see it and it scares the hell out of you, it's the fear factor. So you got the anger
Yes.
factor and the fear factor. So it has some kind of domain over you because it's got the upper hand at the time, you know. But
Right.
that's what happened to me when I was a kid.
That's I heard from my brother Al while he was working in the post
Your
office.
twin brother Al.
He was telling me about a guy he worked with at the post office from Africa, and every time he goes to someone's house, even family members, they sage before they go because you don't know what's going to go on in that house. And he's right. So I'll stop my Al right now. But he's right. You don't know what kind of shit's going to happen. And that's why, I mean, like, I've always told everybody, if you go to a restaurant, right, and they have those little salt packets, just grab a handful, put them in your pocket, put some in your car, keep some in your pants, put them everywhere, because that's a protection, that you're going to need. You don't know what you're walking into. You don't even know what you're walking into when you go into a restaurant.
It's
Crazy.
really true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard about the salt, and then I heard about something about throwing it behind you or something like that.
I think that was like, if you spill the salt, you throw it behind you. But I don't follow that. Because, dude, we spill a lot of salt right out.
Oh man, we buy a ton.
We dump a lot of salt. We'd have to.
I get it in 5-pound bags.
Yeah, but it's not about that. It's the reason why if you spill a salt, it was bad luck. It's because salt was a premium. Now it's everywhere. It's all wisetail, but salt
Because
is always,
the salt is pure. It's pure, kind of like the garlic.
Yeah, it's a purification. It's a purification to the salt. Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Garlic is another thing. It's pure, and I remember my grandmother used to keep it. But since I turned into come see us, I cannot go to visit my grandmother no more because of the garlic she got hanging in her house.
well,
Garlic and like holy water or little palms that are form of crosses on the doorways for protection.
I think silver has something to do with that too, doesn't it?
Yes.
silver is a pure. It's one of the purest metals. Actually, I always tell people if you want, like, what can I invest in? Right? People have asked me, should I buy stocks? But I said buy silver.
Right.
I said, and they always tell you, like, well, what about gold? And I said, well, for the price, an ounce of gold is like, now it's skyrocketing. It's like $2,200.
Yeah.
But an ounce of silver was like, at the time, it was like $12. So how many ounces can you get out of it? And you can buy a lot of it, but there's more uses of silver than there is gold.
Right.
And you're gonna, you get more bang for your buck out of that. But silver is great. I mean, what do you think? They could use silver bullets.
Yep.
Silver swords, silver knives, and a lot of weaponry.
Silverware.
I use colloidal silver.
Plates.
The liquid version of silver. You can inhale it when you have a cold. It helps. Silver purifies. It gets rid of bacteria infection. That's why it was like with vampires and werewolves. It interrupts the flow of the disease technically. But
my mother used to hang old corn on the wall. I forgot what kind of corn it was, but it was like all this weird looking colored corn, and it was supposed to keep out the evil eye or something. I don't know if you guys did that, like your parents did that, but my mother always had like this old looking corn on the wall.
Really?
My grandma, I mean, we had just too many people in our apartment, but my grandmother always kept this huge jar of coarse salt. She'd cook with it. And I think there was a little bit of that, like you should keep the salt there because it purifies everything. She'd put some in a glass, leave it out. I never questioned it, but it's interesting, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All those old world things.
Yeah.
Did your guys' parents do that? Like the Mexicans do that with the corn too, or is it just the Italians?
I think it's just the Italians because our mothers did like the eggs. You know how the cleaning with the egg.
Yeah.
And they also did like some type of like branches. I can't remember.
We had
garlic.
Backstage.
Garlic, sage, the sage.
I think it's sage, yeah.
the sage, the garlic. They would play groceries. The Palm Sundays. We get the Palm Sunday
Oh, the
blessed
palms.
cross,
Yeah.
and we place them on the windows, on the doorways, uh, everywhere throughout the house. And I remember what happened when we did that one day because there was a lot of activity already happening. You know how I mentioned about the dark shadow.
Right.
We placed those crosses all over the windows, right, and doorways. That night, we had poundings all over the walls,
Oh, wow.
poundings underneath the house because our house was on pillars.
Wow.
You could hear something running on top of the roof, and you could hear little kids laughing. Usually around 2 in the morning, around our home, and then on the trees because we had trees to the side of our home. You could hear the lechuzas, which
Oh,
are
wow.
witches.
Which is in bird form.
They will be laughing, and they'll be whispering, and you can hear their talents where they're going. But they were making all kinds of distractions. So we were all young, so we're kind of scared, because all this activity is happening. So my mom will gather us in a circle, and we start praying, and the activity continued for a while, for about 2-3 hours. It was like a constant thing.
Wow.
So we kept on praying and praying, but we're staying in a protection was inside the house because of the crosses, and it was blessed. But the activity that was happening outside is kind of like trying to lure us to go outside. But yes, it was pretty bad.
What do you? I mean, look, you're physically seeing stuff, so that there's something there, but you think it's like a topa, that you because you're thinking it, you're creating it.
Right.
And
Right.
Well,
That's what I was
back
gonna say.
well,
A lot of times you bring
after
it in.
after a long time of as I grew, it's like what, I'm gonna go confront whatever's out there, and my mom's like, don't go outside, and I went out there. The light was on in the front. I went out, and I was by then I was already in little league, so I was a pitcher. So I went to the side of the house where the lechuzas or the brujas were laughing, and I seen them. They were up there on the trees. It looked like a bird, but it was huge, probably like I would say like 6 foot big. You could see them on the trees. So I grabbed the caliche. It was a big white rock. That and back in those days, I had the roads wasn't even roads; it was dirt roads. So we had a lot of caliche in our town because the roads were made out of the caliche. So I was grabbing and hitting the lechuza hard, as hard as I could, but it wouldn't budge. You could hear the thump. It was a direct hit, but it wouldn't move. And
Hey guys, we got our fifth creepy member here tonight already. He's backstage. I'm gonna go ahead and add him on, guys.
I'm
Amen.
calling
Okay.
bullshit. I'm calling bullshit.
Here we go. Ow.
Who was it?
Happy Halloween! How you guys doing?
howdy.
Doing great, man. How you doing, brother? Awesome, man. Freaking awesome, brother.
Got it.
Yeah, love it, dude. Hey, turn sideways,
Absolutely.
Shane. Turn sideways. Show us your. There you go.
Nice.
All about the dog man. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
man. Hey, yeah, that's awesome, brother. I love it, man. How you doing, Shane?
Doing good. Sorry I'm late. I
No, you
worked
good?
late, unfortunately. So,
Yeah, we figured you were barely getting off of work or something, and you were on your way.
yeah, but here we are. Let the party begin.
Yeah,
The
brother.
party has already begun.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
Wait till later on. He's gonna be on like Donkey Kong.
Welcome to our humble abode.
There you go.
Hey, I was gonna say, Brian, do you think you can tell us what's one of like the creepiest, scariest, haunting places that you and Al, looked at, like abandoned buildings or something like that, or hospitals, or
Well, there was this
I know
one
y'all did a
time we
bunch.
were in Brian's apartment in the Bronx.
Yeah, tell me about it. That's fucking creepy as shit. Actually, my apartment in the Bronx was like seriously, like constantly active, and it has to do a lot with the land. We bought another apartment on the same floor, and I went in there one time, and it was like 98 degrees, right? And we were moving into this, 3-bedroom with a terrace, whatever. So I went in there, and I went in with my brother's Rottweiler, and looking around like this is really cool. And he comes into the apartment, he goes into the corner, and he sits down, and he looks up, and then he cowers, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Oh no, not good.
No, I mean, like when a dog sees something. So I mean, it's warm in the entire apartment. It's a top floor. It's rather warm, no air conditioning. And I walk over to that corner, and in that corner, the whole corner was like at least 20 degrees cooler. So he saw something in there. But we'll fast forward. So I go in and I use like the phonetic generator, the Ovilus, and it starts spitting out words. Boom! It starts spitting out Army. Starts spitting out Navy. It starts spitting out specific names and gashes in the stomach and this woman's name and all this stuff. And of course, I collect it and I write it down. So I go and start Googling it, and lo and behold, everything starts popping up. Boom, boom, boom. 2 guys. One was a Navy guy. One was an artillery guy, fighting over the same girl. And one of them got a saber right through like where your pancreas would be, right? And it's all coming in. Like you could just Google it, you look it up, and it's all connecting the dots. And one was in the artillery, and artillery came up. One was saying Navy or the ship. Down from my house is where they built either the Monitor or the Merrimack. Literally, right. Al would know. In Spine Devil Creek.
Okay.
Right over there. They built one of the ships for the Civil War. Okay. I know that a lot of bad stuff happened on that property because that same line of apartments, 7 apartments, you go through the history, everybody in every apartment, the 2nd floor, 2 people die of cancer. The 3rd floor, one of my friends lived. His father dies of cancer and his mother's continuously sick. Okay. The 4th floor, they had people in there. One, and they were runners. They both died of cancer. Then they go to the 5th floor. Okay. The 4th floor, one of them was a runner and not a smoker, not one lick, dies of lung cancer. The 5th floor, the people that were there, they got sick. They moved out. When the new people moved in, 2 of their kids got diabetes. There's no diabetes in their family. Go to the 6th floor. Again, people getting sick. Go to the 7th floor. When I lived in that apartment, my father got sick. I had the most sharp pains, like I thought it was food poisoning at one point, and all throughout my stomach. It was pure evil in that place.
Ooh, wow.
Then there was one time where my mother had a lady that would help clean the apartment, and she was from the islands, right? And my mother got sick, and she went into the hospital, and she sent this woman back to the apartment. Now, how the apartment works is you go into the door, and you have to go to the right, and then it opens up to the right, and you have to walk down, and there's a kitchen. Then it opens up to like a living room. There's 2, there's 3 other bedrooms. And she opens the door, and when she comes in, she looks to the right. She says, "There's a gray-haired man, only half of him wearing a waistcoat." And she says, "You're not supposed to be here." And he runs right at her and goes through her, and she left the apartment. She would never, ever come back to it again.
Absolutely not. I don't blame her.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know what? I'll tell you what. Letchworth Village was very interesting, the one we did. One of them that kind of, and it wasn't even. Thank you for that.
Keep it down, Shane.
I actually, when we did the last major one, and man, that hill killed me in Yonkers. We did it by Undermeyer Park.
Oh yeah, tell him about the one with the cigarette that smoked himself.
So we were told.
Yes.
Oh yeah. We were told that there's a ghost there that smoked cigarettes. So I literally said, "Oh, you want to smoke?" And I took my cigarette, I lit it, and I lit one, and I put it down on the stone, right where they told you to go. That thing went, it like he was inhaling, and it glowed red, and it just like a regular, like you were inhaling a cigarette. And we got it on tape, but I don't know where the tape is at this
Yeah,
point.
I mean, either me and Brian
was on
lost
tone.
our shit when we seen that, man.
That was
crazy.
super cool.
That
But
was
something that was
crazy.
a little bit creepy. We left there and we did the Estes method in the back. Both of us did
Oh,
it
in the stables
in the
with
stables.
the kid, with the little boy.
Yep. And
Oh.
Al went blindfolded, the headphones on, and I was able to get I can record what's going on outside, but also record the SB7 box. And during that, it started out pretty cool, and he did it. And when I did it, it got creepy. It got really creepy. And I felt like you could feel the pressure coming in, and it was just unnerving. You did not want to be there. And I mean, maybe it's like because
Well,
that park is where they did a lot of satanic worship. David Berkowitz was in that park. He was the son of Sam.
Wow.
So I mean, that's a bad history of that stuff.
Yeah, and we use Katie Turner. She's a psychic for the Travel Channel, and her name came through on the SD Spirit Box. It was crazy.
Yeah, we contacted Katie. She said there's someone there. If you give them a cigarette, they'll smoke it. And well, she's spot on with everything anyhow.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
And
We
you
have
guys
a-
seen it firsthand, where the
Dude,
cigarette just
Dude,
Well,
we had like 3
cigarette.
cameras going. Absolutely.
I wish I
As a
could
matter
find.
of fact,
I'll
I think
find it.
Brian was filming me while I was taking the pic.
Yeah.
I had a you know what I had on me? I had one of those the cop cameras where you could
GoPro, like the
like a GoPro and
Body
just
cam.
record, body cam.
Yeah. And what year was this? Where the department that you seeing this operations? Because I know for Hood, the old buildings, the billets, they tore them all down because they had asbestos in it, and the walls were made out of they had lead paint.
Yep.
And it was causing people to be sick, and it was causing people to hallucinate. There's some soldiers that committed suicide.
Oh no,
So
100%.
they tore down all the billets, and at the mortar pool there was a shed where we pull guard. Well, that had asbestos also. So what you're describing to me sounds like maybe that the building might have had asbestos and maybe lead on as paint. That was
Right.
might be causing the people to be sick.
No, I'll tell you what, and I know about the asbestos and lead paint. Because they're pretty stringent with the laws as far as asbestos.
New York's got a lot of laws
in New York
man.
City
Yeah.
because a lot of kids are eating paint chips and they're dumb as rocks because of the lead in there. So you had to go test, and there's no lead in it. There's no asbestos in the walls. But I know exactly what you're saying, and it's on. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's the building." I'm like, "Nope." It's
The pipes, the pipes where the water runs also could have been made out of asbestos. Like in our town, they tore down the whole water plant because a lot of people got cancer, diabetes, and all kinds of stuff from the asbestos pipes. So they had to tear down all the water place and build a brand new one. But a lot of people died. Yes.
In this apartment building, a matter of fact, our psychic Cindy, she freaking hated that building. She goes, "You got to get the hell out of that place." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I'm trying," because there was so much negativity. Not only within the building, there's 8 floors, like 200 apartments, right? But the land it was built on, people were killed on. They were like,
Oh.
go back
the
to
Native
1800s.
Americans were slaughtered on that land. You know what I mean?
Native Americans, African Americans.
wow.
This
Yeah.
event took place 99%. I'm 99% positive it took place on the property, and they buried the body there and covered it up, and no one did anything about it. It's just what it is. In my other apartment that I moved into on that floor, I mean, seriously, all the time, 24/7, you see things walking out. You can see, I saw something one night. I'm watching TV. I finally get to watch some TV. The lights are off. TV's on. And I see by the door, and I see what looks like the freaking, the Predator type of camo. And
The
it's
shimmer.
moving. Yeah, the shimmer, and it's moving. and it stops. And I look over there. When it stops, it goes down. I said, dude, I see you. Just go. Get out. Go. And then it peeks its head up, and then it goes. I said, yeah, go, walk. And it walks. Now, I see that all the time. Before everybody's using SLS, for their ghost investigations, I was using called Xbox.
Yeah.
Okay? And in Xbox, you would sit there, and what would happen is you'd map your face and see who you are, like map your profile, boom, and then anybody that would come into the room, it would say, guest, new guest, and it would hover over by that person. When I started using the Xbox, I was sitting on the couch, and there's nothing behind me but a wall, 7 stories up, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm about to play, and I go in to calibrate my Kinect, and I see 2 guests that are there, but there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Yep. And it wasn't stick figured. It was just, they know it's something there. They just put like a little, floating name tag guest, and it was moving. And I turned around. I was like, whatever. Right? I want to play pickup,
Yeah.
But another thing you talk about that was interesting. I was doing a round table actually with Katie Turner and Justin Cancelleri, and we were supposed to do. There was other people supposed to do it. I think so. I don't know if you guys were involved in it, but this was a while ago. It was a couple years ago. So I used to do my stuff in the kitchen. They had a railroad kitchen, right? My apartment's overpacked, mess. So I put a banner behind me. They're just a foot away from the window, and you go right out and you go 7 stories down, right? There's nothing behind me. So I'm doing it, and we're talking, and then she does this during the whole thing. I'm getting a feeling. I get the ringing in the ear. Al will tell you. And I get this impression in my head, and I see this extraterrestrial in my head. And while I'm doing that, she does this. She's looking. So she goes back. So we go through the whole thing, and we stop, and I go, what the fuck did you just say? She goes, oh my God, you caught that? I'm like, how can I not catch that? Your mug is right. She goes, I saw this like extraterrestrial alien behind you. So I go and I said, did it look like this? And she goes, oh my God, yeah. It peeked out from behind me. I wasn't like over here. And then it went back. And that's pretty freaky because I told them like behind me is less than a foot and it's 7 stories down.
Straight down. Yeah. I don't even think you had a fire escape out that window, right?
No. That was in the bedroom. That's our terrace.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm getting an uneasy feeling with Shane's evil grin over there, man. It's kind of like the ones that they describe on the Dogman encounters, ain't it? Where they say they looked up and it almost looked like it was.
It looks like one I seen on the YouTube channel.
Right.
Yeah,
Somebody was pretending to be a werewolf.
Yeah, when they show
the one that's peeking by the window.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I know. It's creepy, man. It's a creepy smile there.
Go ahead, Shane. Give us a story.
Yeah, Shane.
Come on,
brother.
scary.
What are you guys
And not getting married.
What do you guys want to hear?
Anything
Anything creepy,
story,
man.
whatever.
I don't have anything right now off the top of my head that I know of. I mean, I can tell you about an encounter that of a guy I interviewed about, I'd say 3-4 months ago out here in California that had a dogman encounter. He had actually a couple of them. And his best friend committed suicide after seeing one of these things. 3 months after seeing it, his best friend killed himself.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of stories, but that encounter still to this day, after 3-4 months ago, still sticks to me, and I still think about it every day.
You have any California, brother?
Yeah, out in California. It was down near San Diego, more north of San Diego. I forget the town he lives in. I think it's Chula Vista. But his best friend and him saw one of these things, and they were driving. And I don't remember the whole justification of the encounter, but I know they were in the truck and they were driving, and they happened to look over and they thought it was a rock. But his friend was just terrified when they saw it, and then he started suffering from PTSD from seeing it. Then he wrote a note and pretty much committed suicide. Left it.
Did you ever meet him? Trey?
Oh, the guy I interviewed?
Yeah.
No, I've never met him yet. I've still been planning on meeting, like coordinating with him to get down there and, maybe link up eventually. So he's like 4 or 5 hours away from me. So we've been so
Wow.
busy with stuff up here, and just doing our own stuff. But I mean, he's still a part of the group, and we still talk regularly. But he said that one encounter though that he told me about his best friend committing suicide from seeing one of these upright canids, it still sticks to me.
Well, I mean, you got Todd in the group right here, right in the chat, and he's had some up close and personal encounter with this thing enough to unnerve him. I mean, I've never met anybody in my opinion that they don't scare me or whatever. Yeah, dude, no, it's just I don't think so.
Oh yeah, Todd will tell you, man. He will tell you.
No, yeah, Todd had some shit happen to him.
Oh,
Carlito, tell us a scary story, brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I was kind of caught off guard there, but
turn.
okay. Yeah, okay. All right. I'll tell you a little story about my family. There was one time where my grandmother in some small town, rural town in Mexico, she had a house, right? And she I think she was about to sell the house or something. And they took they I don't know how they found out, but they figured that there was money buried in that house. So they took a spiritual whatever, you know how they talk to the dead or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it was my oldest sister, her husband, my second oldest sister, her husband, and a couple more people. I can't remember who all was there. But they took that medium or whatever it is that talks to the dead people, and they did the candles and everything and spoke to it and through her, and she was translating everything it was saying to them. So basically, in a nutshell, is that there was money buried there, and it was a treasure chest, big time money from like the Revolution times or whatever, right?
Cool.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. And but the thing is that this entity, he said, okay, I'll give y'all the money, but I want one of you in exchange for that money. So he wanted to take one of the people there, like the soul, basically. And
wow,
I think it was one of my sister's husbands that said, okay, take me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he said through the lady, he said, no, not you, because you have a cross, a hair cross in your chest. So he had hair like this, like a cross, basically.
Oh wow.
And, yeah.
Like
said,
this one right here.
Yeah. So it does kind of make sense, right? I mean, a cross, and he said, no, I can't take you because you got a cross there. She's like, why? He's like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. There has to be someone without something like that. He said, y'all think about it. Let me know in the morning or let me know tomorrow, whatever. So they slept on it. They thought about it. They said, man, this is crazy. Oh, and he told them, he said, I will give y'all, if y'all give me someone, I will give y'all the money. I'll let it. Because they knew where it was, but they just couldn't get in there just like that because I don't know, the folklore or whatever, that it would turn into like toxic something, gases and whatever, and it'll kill you instantly. So the thing is that they had to go through him so he can remove like the curse or something, and they can be able to take the money out of the ground. So what happened is that he said, and don't nobody try to go down there and touch it or open it or anything before we make a deal. Well, somebody did try to go down there and open it, and at night or whatever, when everybody else was sleeping, I think it was. And then so the next day they said, okay, well, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Okay, we're gonna talk to it again and say, whatever, we'll make a deal with you, whatever. But by that time, when they contacted him with that medium, He said, "No, y'all broke my rule that I told y'all not to go down there and not to open it up or whatever." And instantly they were all like, "Who did it?" Like what the hell, whatever. He said, "So you lost your chance. You're not getting anything anymore." So the thing disappeared. Like the whole thing disappeared.
Did the
They
dude
dug and
die?
dug. Huh?
Did the dude die who went down there?
No, he
Oh,
didn't.
okay.
He didn't die. Not then. Not right there. I don't know if he died later on, but it was,
Okay.
a person from that same town. But yeah, it was pretty creepy, man.
That's
Pretty creepy.
insane.
Yeah.
I got a story for y'all.
All right.
All
Go
the way
for it.
from 1980.
From
wow.
He was dealing.
Transylvania. From
It,
Transylvania.
it was dealing with my grandmother. It was a Sunday afternoon. She was making this Spanish dish called capirutada, which is like bread with raisin and onions and apples.
And
It's
it's
like
got
a
like a
dessert.
syrup, doesn't it? It's got like a syrup in it, kind of
Yeah, it's
sweet.
like
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
So she called me over to go to her house. I went there and I was eating the little bowl she gave me, and she had a big old dish full of it, right? So as I'm eating the capirutada, somebody's knocking on the door. So she told me to go check. She was already like 89. She was already
Oh,
very,
wow.
very old. So I went up to the door. There was this man. He had black pants on and a red shirt. And he says in Spanish, "Is a woman of the house here?" And that's the first time I ever seen her. I didn't recognize him. I said, "Yes." And I want to go get her. So when I call my grandmother, she's walking real slow. And she gets to the door and sees him. And she backs away like 3 steps. And she's kind of like scared. And she like changes her demeanor back to like, "Oh, hi, how you doing? Come on in, come on in. I've been waiting for you." So he lets them in. When we talk about vampires, she lets them in. They go to the kitchen, and I'm walking with them. But the way the man's walking, he's walking weird. He's walking, but his leg is like dragging, like something's wrong with it. Which is his right leg, like something's wrong with it. So he goes, sits down. He's sitting there. She grabs a big bowl of the dish, puts it right in front of him. The man puts his face in it and starts eating like a dog, like an
Oh,
animal, and
wow.
is making this weird sound, like just like a dog eats, right? And I'm looking underneath the table, and I could see gnats on his right leg, the where the pan is. There's a lot of gnats. And I'm like, why is there gnats down there? So, I was like, at that time, I was like 10 years old. So I go underneath the table and I'm being, curious. Why are the gnats by his leg? So as I start lifting his pant leg, I see a goat's leg and he kicks me.
Oh, no.
He kicks me and I run from underneath the table and I stand up and I'm looking at him. I'm knowing that he's not a man because of what I witnessed, right? So I'm looking at him and he stands up. The computer is finished and he's looking at me and he tells her, "It's your time, it's your time. Your time is now." And my grandmother's looking at him and said, "No, no, not yet." And he points at me and he says, "I'm going to take him right now. He's too strong." And my grandma said, "No, no, not him, not him." And so if I can't take him, then who? And she said my uncle's name, which
Oh,
is her son,
no.
right? So the man looked at her and he said, "I'll be back next year." He goes outside and starts walking, and I start following him because I was curious of his leg, and he still had the little limp that he had. And my mother, because my grandmother and my mother's house, we lived in the same lot. It was a 4 lot, so I'm following it. My mother yelling, "Don't!" She's yelling at me, don't follow, don't go, don't follow him, don't follow him." And I'm being stubborn headed, so I'm following it. It's daylight, and he goes up the hill, and he takes a left. I go up the hill, and I seen it in the middle of the road. Next thing you know, it just disappears into thin air, like goes into another dimension, another realm, but it's gone. I call that what I witnessed. I believe what happened after that was this: the name she said of my uncle, activity started happening over there. where at night there'll be somebody going to his porch, and you can hear hoop sounds, poof, 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 on his porch, and banging on his door like something's trying to take him. So what I believe is what I witness is my grandmother had to be into something in order for that to happen. You know, I would say maybe a witch or something where a deal or a pact was done.
Right.
When I went to my uncle, that activity started happening, and then he got demonically attacked, in which he wasn't acting himself. He was acting like he was a rooster, and then he was literally, and I'm not bullshitting you about it, he was literally climbing on the walls, and we're all praying for him. You know, as we're praying and all this activity is happening, something comes out of his body, and it goes through the screen. It rolls out the whole screen, and the glass it just rolls out the window. And my uncle becomes better, but I believe that had to do with witchcraft, or there was a deal done somewhere along the line. But eventually, when my grandmother passed away, my older cousins were like 20 years older than me. So they were like in their 30s. We were in the back of the hearse, and they were singing the song, hi ho, the wicked witch is dead. They're singing the song, and I'm like, hey, why are you disrespecting grandmother like that? And they're telling my other cousins are like 5 years older than me. He was probably like 15, and he's like, yeah, tell little cuz what's up, and my cousin's like, hey, she was a witch, she was a dark witch or something like that. That's what he said. So I believe that was, I try to call that, what I witnessed is the collector. Anybody that makes pacts or deals, there's a certain time frame. I guess they're giving gifts of some sort, but the price to pay is their soul.
That's insane.
Yeah, and that's what I witnessed. That's why I'm more of the spiritual aspect, because of what I've seen and I witnessed. That's why I'm really spiritual and cryptic encounters, and I try to help out people, because there's a way out. For anybody that makes a deal, or they're loyal to the negativity to cults, there's always a way out. And the way out is you repent for your sins, ask for forgiveness, and start having a relationship with Jesus Christ, because He's the only one that can make it happen. But what they do, those things that come after you, they go to scare you, so you won't find that other side to be able to change. But that's something I witnessed, and I'm here sharing it with y'all guys.
Wow. I got a good one for you. I won't name names, but I had a cousin who passed away. The night he passed away, his father had a dream that he's seen his son at his house. And while his father was like talking to him in a dream, like, what are you doing here? Because his father lived in a different state. He lived in New York. And the father said, what are you doing here? And he said, I just came by to say goodbye. His father noticed the Grim Reaper was standing in the corner. And his father thought the Grim Reaper was there for him because the old man had a bad heart. And my cousin said, no, Pop, he's not here for you. He's with me. So when his father woke up the next day, he called New York to check on his son. And my cousin was dead.
Whoa.
Yeah. How crazy was that? He went to see his father after he died, and the Grim Reaper went with him, bro.
Well, I mean, I guess, you do get a request. There's also in the past, they made a movie called The Seven Signs, Seven Seals, Seven Signs. Sorry, it's Ingmar Bergman, and in it he plays Death comes to collect him, but he plays death in chess, and if you beat him, you live. You're like another year. So something really interesting about that, though, I just saw this fairly recently. Wasn't that long ago. Someone caught the Grim Reaper on top of a truck at the scene of an accident. There was an accident by a bridge. I believe it was in Texas. The car came over, flipped, and then a couple of seconds later, 18-wheeler drives by, and on top of the 18-wheeler is
Yeah,
someone
I saw that one. Yeah.
standing up, and they said, "That's the Grim Reaper."
Collecting the soul.
Yeah, I saw that one. I saw the one you were talking about, Brian. Yeah, he was just standing on the back flat bed just like that, just cruising by, cruising on by
It
like
was
nothing.
just, and it's that's just interesting. I mean, I know that.
The Grim Reaper appears.
Yeah.
The Grim Reaper, the Hellhounds, the Dark Man or Shadow Man that appears. Uh, these beings, they all have something in common. They're like dark beings and have red eyes. They're kind of like, I guess, soul collectors, and they appear when there's tragedy.
Wow.
Mothman, the Mothman, there's prime example of that. Have red eyes, dark entity. It appears and all these people die on that bridge.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I beg to differ on that because I think the Mothman is, I think they're interdimensional beings that come out through the cracks of a broken and fractured timeline, and because the Mothman in Point Pleasant, there's a ton of these same flying humanoids out in Chicago right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, another interdimensional species are the black-eyed kids. And the reason why I say that is when they ramped up Firm in Chicago in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were doing some kind of search for quantum travel or time travel, something to that effect. They ramped that up. And then as soon as they ramped it up, they shut it down immediately. And from that point, after that point, someone talked about the Mandela effect happened. And, on top of that, they started just recently ramping it up again. And then what happened in Chicago? There are people seeing these flying humanoids, and they look like they stand on top of buildings like gargoyles.
Yeah, I heard about that. They were seeing all kinds of stuff.
Right.
They were seeing those gargoyles. They were seeing the Dark Shadow Man. They were seeing Bigfoots and Dogmans also all at once.
So here,
when all those people were dying over there.
Right.
Black on black crimes.
Right. Well, this is my explanation of it. So when Firmlab and when all these colliders juice up, they don't know what they're doing, but they're doing some major damage to different timelines, right? So thanks, Eric. So what happens is they ramp up, and these are two different timelines. It's using a visual, right? And then what happens is we're in the red timeline, depending on how up to a certain point, up to 2010. Okay, these are people in the green past 2010. So they we're right next to each other. These are timelines that are right next to each other. They open it up, they crack, boom. And then when they come back together in the timeline, now this is what you have. So you have the first portion of one timeline, and then the closing now of another timeline.
Like half and half, basically.
Right. Yeah. What happens is this explains that why most people born before a certain year remember Bernstein Bears, remember Cornucopia, remember all this crazy stuff. And then, this is why people in this timeline don't remember it. They remember it differently because it was different. It's different in this timeline. It's different in this timeline. Okay. But what happens is when you fracture something, right? Let's say you did something. We're all stupid. And your mother says, don't play ball in the house or don't do this or that. And when they're out, you break something into theirs, right? So you're like, oh, cool. I'll glue it back together, right? It never glues back. You're always going to have a joint that has holes in it in the crack. And what happens is these interdimensional beings see that light or something coming through it, and they go through it, and that's how they get in and out now. If you notice, the kids that have black eyes, the black-eyed kid stories, they always take place near a major university who has a collider that is active. And you can have a small collider. You don't have to have the big one like they have at CERN. All in the same spot.
So what is a collider, brother? What is that, a device of some sort?
It's colliding atoms and particles to see.
Oh, I see.
To create antimatter. I personally think CERN is doing it because they're trying to
Black
create
holes.
portals or doorways. And I'm going to say it straight up. I think there's a lot of satanic stuff going on with that stuff. They're trying to bring in something, and it's not just science. That's just my 2 cents. And every time they ramp that thing up, I know it's going to come. I get antsy. I get anytime something is going to affect us negatively. I'm always like, I was talking to Al about this. Well, like, dude, we haven't talked. I'm like, I'm really stressed out. It's like I feel this stuff and I feel it and it's pressure and I know something's going to happen. And then boom, CERN happens. And I'm like, there it is. Or in this case, there's almost, World War III going to be taken.
So this black eyed kids that you say are they demonic?
I don't know if I don't. Okay. You're talking about something that's interdimensional. That's not here in this dimension. So we may have angels and demons in this timeline, in this dimension, but they may not have it in the next dimension. You understand?
Yeah.
So
because I know demons, they mimic the voices of children at nighttime,
100%. But my point is, what takes place in our timeline that we were born in doesn't necessarily take place in the timeline next to us or near us. It's something similar. So it's like a yin yang, right? So if you have a lot of good, there's a little bad. And if you have a lot of bad, there's always a little good. So our timeline could be a lot of good with a little bad. And that timeline could be a lot of bad with a little good. Have you noticed? Most of us are old enough to know that there used to be like, people are protesting. It went to a certain point, it stopped, and then everything leveled out. Right? Everything leveled out. We were fine for a while, a long while actually. And then something happens, 10, 20 years later, and then people get angry, boom, they go up, and it starts ramping up a little bit. Then they settle down, and we're fine. We've been doing this the whole time for the last bunch of years, and we're just getting it just keeps going up. No, everything's anger, everything's negative, everything's evil, everything's bad. So I think
that's
a different timeline at the end of ours.
It's kind of like that happened, I believe, in the time of Jesus Christ when he was on the cross and he said, they don't know what they do. I believe all the people that were there, were, you could say, demonized or like possessed because they didn't know what they were doing. So he had said to forgive them. When you talk about how the bad and there's a lot of bad and a little bit of good, little bit of good, that's what I feel that the comparison to me.
I totally hear you. I mean, religion plays a very big part for a lot of people's lives, and there is good and evil in this world. I mean, come on, we've seen it. Al got locked into a bathroom seeing it. And I'm not kidding. It's one of my favorite stories because the reason why it's because I know where he was and the people involved. It's the Son of Sam killing, satanic worshiping. The whole thing that's great about it is that question: what would you do?
Yeah, and you know what, guys? If you really want to go down a scary rabbit hole,
you want to see my wedding video?
Research. I know Brian. I know Brian and Al know all about this, but us, the rest of the panel and people in the chat. If you guys want to go down a really dark rabbit hole, research where Halloween originated and why, and it's crazy. It's super dark. Super dark.
Oh,
it's nothing.
We can bring on an alien that will talk to you about it.
It's nothing about all happy, joyful mass.
It was the time of the paganism, the pagans and all that. I believe.
Yeah, it's dark now. It's dark
from way back then.
Yeah. Hey,
the pagans they used to live in a big mountain, and they had different stages that. In order for you to get to the top, you have to pass certain stages every level, and then on the very top, well, the prize was death. Where they would sacrifice the person that would make it to the top. They would kill them, and they had lines like a circle and formations of sort where the blood would drain. But that's a long time ago. I remember seeing this old video on PBS station. late at night. The pagans, and then they show this old mountain and the stages, and they were talking about it. PBS. He was on the PBS station, and I was like intrigued with it. Like, what is this about? And he was talking about how they would kill the people, and then they burn the body sometimes, and supposedly the spirit with the black smoke will go up into the skies, and they're always do some crazy stuff.
Can I answer this question right now? For Gary?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jimmy Page. I saw a black dog on there. I'm like, it's Jimmy Page. That's the difference. Gotta go that way.
Yeah, Jimmy Page is another.
So I got a good true story. This is right down Shane's alley. Okay. Heard it from my 95-year-old grand aunt at the time. Okay. After World War II, 1950, something like that, I had relatives that lived up and they called them the Alpinis. They're the smaller Alps in Italy. It's like New York's got the Catskills and the Adirondacks. This would be considered like the Catskill mountain range. And my family were sheep farmers. They were sheep herders. And they would herd the sheep, and every night, either the father or the two sons, one of them would watch over the sheep, so the wolves wouldn't come out of the forest to eat the sheep. So one time it was I forgot the kid's name. Oh man, and it was this young kid's turn to watch the sheep. He was like 12 years old. Okay, and his older brother, who was like 16, gave him a staff with a big rock tied to the top of it, and he said, if any wolves come down and get the sheep, beat them with the rock. Okay, so the kid's like, okay, 12-year-old kid, and the mother, everybody had to go to sleep. So he's underneath this big overhang rock. He's sitting under this overhang rock. There's a full moon, so he can see all the sheep, grazing in the pasture. At one point, all the sheep start getting closer and closer together, which is a sign that there's a predator around, right? So the kid is sitting under there with the rock, the staff, and he's 12 years old. He's actually scared to death, right? And all of a sudden, he sees the wolf comes down, and he's on top of the rock that the kid's hiding under. And the wolf is looking at the herd of sheep. So the wolf starts creeping down along this rock, staying close to this big stone that the kid is under, because he doesn't want to scare the sheep. He wants to creep up on them, so he's staying in the shadows. And as the wolf turns the corner, the kid starts beating the hell out of it with this stone, just beating it, screaming and yelling and making all kinds of noise. And at some point, his brother and his father come out, and they come running out, and they got pitchforks and stuff, and the wolf runs off. So the next day, the father goes to town, and they get the constable, right? And they said, tells the constable, yeah, there's a wolf that coming down and killing my sheep. We got to go kill this wolf, So the constable rounds up a posse, and they're searching the woods for this wolf that they know is injured because there's blood all over the place where the kid beat it with the rock, And they find this cottage in the middle of the woods that nobody knew about. So the constable says, well, let me go. The blood goes right into the cottage. They're following the blood trail. They follow it all the way back to this cottage. This is a true story. I checked it with my brother and my sister. They were both there at the time when my aunt told this story. And so the constable goes, let me knock on the door and see, maybe the owner of the cottage has a pet wolf, and he lets it out at night, So he knocks on the door. He hears somebody walk over to the door. When the door opens up, there's a dude standing there with a bandage on his head. Now everybody in the party, like the were like freaking out. And the constable said, "What happened to your head?" And the guy said, "Oh, was up on top of the mountain, and I fell down. I hit my head on a couple of rocks." But the bandage was full of blood, just like where this kid beat the wolf. My relatives went back to their farm, sold everything, because they said in Italian they were saying that the he was cursed. They called him, in Italian they said he was a wolf man. They said the woods were cursed. Sold the farm, everything, and moved to the United States. Got the hell out of there. True story. Unbelievable.
Well, I
Gypsies believe in that, about the werewolf curse. They believe that when I was in Germany, I was 19, I was drinking. There was this female, and we were drinking, and I started walking with her after they closed the bar, and I was walking with her, and it was late, and she said, "Hey, you can stay at my house, but." We were talking about that she was a gypsy, that they believe in the werewolf because they exist, that they're real. So we went into her house, and I laid down on her couch, and she went into her bedroom. In Germany, the custom's a little bit different. Then she told me, "Hey, you can come over here and lay down in the bed with me." When I walked in there, she was like literally butt naked, and I'm like, "Well, that's her customs, that's what the teachers."
Did she have a tail?
I'm game.
butt naked, bro. And she said, "You can lay down right beside me." So I lay down right beside her, right? I mean, she had a hot body, man, looked like a model.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I fell asleep.
Uh-oh, we lost Dave in the middle of the story.
Oh my
Go.
God.
I was asleep, and when I woke up, she was laying beside me no more. So when I hear like a pounding sound, doof, 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 and I look to the right, there's somebody sitting Indian style by the doorway that goes into the bedroom with a piece of glass in their hand. They broke, I guess, one of those stand-up mirrors where you can look at yourself. They were pounding that glass, and blood was coming out of their hand. And I'm looking, but it wasn't the young female that I seen. This was an old lady, and her eyes were rolled back white. There was like foam coming out of her mouth, and she was just banging the hell out of that sharp piece of mirror, of the glass on the ground. So I got up very slowly. I went around her very slowly, and when I went to the door, she had like a lot of deadbolt locks. So I'm unlocking that real fast, and I'm looking and I'm looking and unlocking and unlocking, and she's just sitting there, So I opened the door. I didn't even close it. I just took off running, So I ran real fast back to the village. I was so scared that I kept on looking to the back of me because I was in my mind, how you was talking about the imagination that she might be coming after me in the air or something, because I wanted the witness to look like a witch.
Yeah,
so I'm running. I didn't even go through the main gate. I jumped over the freaking wall, dude. I jumped over the wall. There was freaking ice on the wall. I jumped over the sucker. That's how scared I was. And that's the last time. The last time that I ever went out with any female to their house in Germany. I was in a foreign country.
Yeah, well, yeah. You figured you would
I'll
be
teach
the
you,
one,
Ing.
Dave.
That's what I just think the drinking blood.
That's crazy.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
That's
Hey,
insane.
Al, I was going to ask you, man, can you tell us about that? I remember you told me about those pictures that you sent me. Can you tell us about that asylum, man? What happened there when y'all went there?
Oh, go.
Oh, yeah, the insane asylum.
Yeah, insane
Yeah.
asylum. Yeah, can you
Well,
tell us more about that
That
one?
was great.
Yeah, we called our psychic. Well, we didn't call our psychic. She called me and she says, "Where you guys going?" And I
Yeah.
said, "We're going to the insane asylum." And she said, "There's going to be an old lady there. She's waiting for you." Now, this particular old lady has been known to throw chairs across the room at people, pull girls' hair, push men down steps, all of this crazy stuff. So I was like, okay, we go, we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? So we go and we run into a group of young kids, like 14-year-old kids. They're doing a ghost hunt like we are, but we're all grown men. There's like 8 of us, and
5 guys and 1
everybody's
girl.
like 6'2", 6'3". Yeah, the kids were small, man. They were like 5 foot tall, and so the kids come up from the morgue, and they're like, "Dudes, we just got this EVP. He goes, check it out. It's an old lady yelling at us. And the old lady's like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. Get out of here. She's saying shit like that to the kids, So we know this is the old lady that's waiting for us. So then we call our psychic, and the psychic says, you're going to go into the operating room and you're going to find a board game that starts with the letter O. Now, we all start laughing at her, thinking she's out of her mind. Yeah, we're going to find operation in the operating room, right? So we go into the operating, 6, 8 guys. The operating room's not that big. There's one table in the room. We put all our bags on it, and we start walking around. And I got that picture. I got a picture of this guy. Not that one. Picture of this guy taking a picture of me. Paul is taking a picture of me.
Yeah.
I'm taking a picture of Paul. And above Paul, nope, keep going. Keep going.
Wrong one.
Nope, that's the
Wrong
old
one,
lady.
keep
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep
The ones I
going.
sent.
Keep going. Right
This
there. That's Paul taking a picture of me taking a picture of him. And above him, right, his right shoulder, is a ghost looking down at us. Okay.
Apparition. She also told us that we're going to meet a really nasty doctor that did a lot of experiments on kids.
Now, at one point, it's up there in that left-hand corner. I think Brian cleaned it up a little bit. Yeah, Brian cleaned it up.
Lightened up version. You'll see it
right there in the left-hand corner. You see
it? Yeah.
So there's this metal light thing coming down out of the sky, out of the wall, right out of the ceiling. Conduit. Thank you, bro.
Right, you can see it in this
right
picture
there,
right here.
Right here.
To the right of me. I'm wearing the red.
Mm-hmm.
And there's right there where your little thing is right there. Anyway, there's this conduit sticking out of the wall, and right next to the conduit is a piece of rope. The conduit is moving left and right, left and right, left and right, but the rope ain't moving. So Brian says he had a black light. He says, I'm going to go over and see if there's any fingerprints on the conduit. So everybody goes over in a circle. Brian's looking to see if there's any handprints on the conduit. There's no handprint. I'm saying, how is the conduit moving and the rope's not moving? They're attached to the same damn pipe. We go back to the table where all our equipment is, and on the table, it just appeared magically. Brian, am I lying about this?
He's talking. They're trying. We're all like together. He's trying to talk. I'm like, Al. He keeps talking because that's Al. Al. He's like, what? I like, look at the table. And he's like, what? I'm like, look at the table. And he turns and he looks at the table that's there, and we're all blown away.
There's a Ouija board on the table in between all of our equipment. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it got there. It looked like it was from the 1700s, right? It was old looking. It was
very
weird.
old.
I don't know where it came from. It just disappeared. Now, the pictures of the blue plasma, I'm taking pictures down this long corridor, and I start to see this blue mist in my photographs. And as I keep taking pictures, it turns into this plasma ball. And as it keeps going, if you start to blow this image up, it looks like an old lady with 2 buns on the side of her head. And I think that's the old lady.
Sitting. Okay, so if you're looking at this photo right now, to the right of her, sitting, it looks like there's somebody. I always said that this was somebody sitting in a wheelchair. And to the left of this image, right next to her, there is a black mass shadow that's above her. It's like three things there, but that old lady is right there.
Yeah, that old lady was right in the middle of the hallway. And then we were downstairs in the basement, and I took a photo of the long hallway again. And at the end of the hallway was a 7-foot shadow figure whose head was above the door jamb. And I was standing right by the elevator, Brian, where we both got that creepy feeling. And we were both down there at different times. We weren't down there together.
There's this one, like, it's like you can, like an elevator would go on a shaft for an elevator, but you can walk behind the elevator. So if you had to work on it or whatever. So I went behind it by myself, and I just got the chilly willies, the pimples. It was as fast as it came as fast as it went.
Now, that's
Didn't say a word to me.
the grave digger. Yeah, it's a different photo. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was crazy, man. And there was no EMF in that building the whole day we were there. The EMF meter did not go off. That's a different ghost. That's another picture of a different ghost I caught.
That
best
one
thing
looks
is-
like the Llorona.
The best thing
The
is
lady, the banshee.
when we meet. So there's like 6 of us guys, right? 6. There were about 6 of us on that.
Yeah, I would say at
investigation.
least 6. Yeah.
We hear the kids come up. There are like 5 boys and 1 girl. And they couldn't be more than maybe 16,
14.
17.
Yeah, tops.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe. And they come over. Oh, you need masks. So I'm giving out masks to people. You shouldn't be in here without a mask. And then Al goes, nobody knows you're here. No, you didn't tell anybody you were coming. No, we didn't tell anybody. They played us the tape. He goes, really? No, but so nobody knows you're here, and you didn't tell anybody you were coming. They're like, no. He turns to me, he goes, we can kill them right now. They'll never find the bodies.
You should have seen
Get
the
out of
look
them.
on those kids' faces, man. They were scared shit.
Dude, the blood just went. Wah.
They all turned white as a ghost. I think the girl pissed her pants. I mean,
Yeah.
it was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Let me tell you something. I think we did a dad's lesson for those kids.
Oh, absolutely. I
No.
don't think they went back there ever again. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
and
this-
I
this
said to him, I said,
picture-
this better not be my kid.
This picture was actually taken at a house. I was doing a cleansing at a house, and there was woods behind this woman's house, and she had a Rottweiler, and the dog was standing by the patio door, just barking, and it couldn't see nothing out in the yard, So I told her, I said, put the dog in another room. I want to try something. And I opened up the sliding glass door, and it was just a screen in front of me. And I took a photo out into the yard, and this hooded image was in the photo. So this is what the dog was seeing, but we couldn't see it with our naked eye. And this thing was coming, like floating towards the back patio, like it was getting ready to come in. I got goosebumps just talking about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, to me, you're describing La Llorona, man. Right, Abe?
Yeah, or
The way he said that she was floating.
yeah, or a wraith, or like a shadow wraith person. But if you look to the left of it, man, I see an image of a face right there beside it. You can see the eyes, the nose, and the mouth open. Right there.
I'm just looking at what's in the middle of that photograph. That's
right
the
there.
That's the one thing that caught my eye. I mean, this thing has got a hood and a cape and a whole 9 yards. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know what it was that came out of that woods, but she
He
got
could have.
some crazy photographs in that.
Yeah,
place,
it could be a whatever's in charge of the territory that is trying to make his presence known to you that it's in charge. Probably like a soul collector. But I see a face of a woman right there, or a face right there, right beside it also. But he looks a little bit bigger. The 2 eyes, the nose, and the mouth. But it's
But you got to
but
remember, I'm taking this picture through a screen door.
so
you know what I
maybe the
mean?
screen could have made it look that way.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm taking a picture through a screen. That's why I had to put the dog away. I don't want the dog to run through the screen door. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I had
Say
to
it.
put the dog away.
I got to say it.
I'm calling bullshit.
Now,
I
the
couldn't
other
even
one,
read it, say it.
the other one is at a cemetery, and I
Yeah.
caught a picture. It looks to me, it looks like a grave digger from like the 30s or 40s. It looks like he's got boots on.
Oh.
It looks like he's got overalls, and they're cuffed up, and looks like he's carrying a shovel in one hand. Now that's the shadow figure at the end of the hall, right? I think, is that the shadow figure, Brad? At the end of the hall? I can't tell. I
Yeah.
have my glasses on.
Yes.
Right
Yeah.
there. That dude, I went back the next day. Just to see if there was like a monument there or a statue or something. And there was nothing between those 2 bushes. Not a damn thing. And that to me looks like a grave digger from the 50s. And he's actually walking,
So I got something for you, and this is audio. So Al and I are doing actually, that the Letchworth Village, where the insane asylum, where we had this investigation. We come back about a year later, and we wanted to do the cemetery. Now, Letchworth Village has 28,000 square acres. It was a huge institution. And they experimented on people there, from babies to adults, and they just dumped bodies in a giant mound. So we're doing an investigation, and I'm in paranormal, like, ghost hunting mode, whatever, EVPs. And, there's a big dog barking, but I'm not thinking cryptids or anything like that. Al's getting this cryptid vibe, getting a dog man vibe. I'm like, okay, whatever. So long story short, because I have the audio here, we go and we get back. I'm reviewing the audio, and I heard stuff in that, and he didn't. But I'm gonna play it for you. You hear noise over here? Nope, I do.
You hear that right between that?
I'll play it a little bit louder so you can hear it. You hear noise over here? Nope, I do.
Wow.
That was right between us in the middle of a grave.
Yeah.
Literally right there with us. Sorry about that. I'm going to lower my volume on that. So, and then I'm trying to find the other one in the video, in these EVPs, where we were situated. It was a dirt country road, a quarter of a mile away from where we were. That's where he was parked up. Nobody was out there. I mean, and what was really cool was that the moment we got in there during the day, and also when we came back in, same thing happened. These two kids on ATV come barreling through looking for us. They're talking to somebody. We don't know. We're looking for them. We're looking. And they go in real quick. And then when they come back out, we stop them. And they're like, what are you guys doing here? So, whoa, we're paranormal investigators. And they go, they're paranormal investigators. We're out. And then they take off like super fast. Right? So we thought that was weird. And then at one point we went to get something to eat after being there for a while. I said, look, if those guys come back, we should stop and say, hey, can we interview you? Because they live here, whatever. So we come back in, we walk in. They must have seen us, and we're using like blue or red lights. So they must be really paying attention, or somebody was. And they come in like bang, bat out of hell. They come back out and we stop them. Hey, whoa. Why are you getting so quick? Can we interview you about what goes on here? No. And they get out. And that was the night that after the investigation, Al started acting really funky and fuzzy. Like he had this weird look on his face. And we're sitting there behind a grave marker for this massive grave, right? So we use that for our back. So if anything came over, we'd have some kind of coverage. We're staring at a huge mound, probably about an acre and a half, 2 acres, right?
Yeah,
Am I close?
No headstones, just crosses with numbers.
Yeah, and then little numbers here and there that someone is trying to, they think they've located. And then through the woods to the left of us, you can see they go for a little bit, and then it opens up into one of those power line corridors, right? We have a full moon. We're sitting there in November, and he's acting really weird. And then the next thing you know, I swear to God, a white fog rolls into the cemetery.
It looked like something out of a Hollywood movie,
werewolf movie, dude.
And the fog rolled over.
It rolled
cemetery.
in, and we were like,
dude, it was crazy.
It was insane.
Temperature dropped like 40 degrees.
Yeah, and so we're hanging out there. He's acting a little weird. I know something's not right about him. His electronics weren't working great. I said, you know what? Let's go. I mean, I had to pee anyhow. We were there for hours. He had a cup of coffee. I had a couple of Cokes. I mean, the caffeine in the cold, it's a disaster for, I'm going to go pee someplace, right? I wasn't going to do it there at the the grave. It's disrespectful. So we walked back out, and as we're walking, he parked further away. And that's the point where we're walking up to his car, and he's got his, Jeep Liberty there, and he pulled it to the side underneath this trash can type of light that would lead you to a path to go walking through the nature forest, whatever. I'm sure people jog it, they walk it. And as we're walking, we noticed this big eye shine. And I'm thinking initially, we were thinking like deer, but it was no, it's too big. And the eyes just get bigger and bigger. And we're going, and it's to my side, the passenger side. Al's putting his stuff in. I got to pee. So I open the door. I have a machete going across, machete in the back, and I have one on the side. My backpack. So I put my backpack in the car, and I still have the machetes, and I'm going. It's like fucking Austin Powers. And all he's saying is, Bri, get in the car, Bri. Get in the fucking car, Bri. I'm like, I'm going to leave you here. I'm like, you're not going to leave me here. And I'm praying, and it's like, evacuating bells. And he keeps like, Bri, get in the car. We can do this. I'm like, dude, I broke the seal. We're doing this. And this creature is sitting 12 feet from us now. Am I close?
Probably not. Probably like 10 feet. Yeah.
Okay. And it's sitting on its haunches just enough in the shadows. And you could tell it's a canine.
Yeah, it's definitely
It's got the
canine.
ears, it's got the head, and it's wide and it's big, and it's just sitting there.
It's
And-
hunting that path. It's
Hey
hunting
Shane,
that path.
hey Shane, that's your cue to go. Ow! Every time we talk about it.
So I'm going and I'm doing what I'm doing.
We tell the Richard a dog.
Exactly. And he's screaming at me at the car started, like, get in the fucking car. I'm leaving. You're not leaving me. My wife will kill you. Your wife will kill you. Whatever. We know the deal. The thing lowers itself in one fluid motion, dude. Like, just starts going down, and it disappears behind this like log in the black. And I get the goose pimples, and I'm like, fuck this. And I get my ass in the car. He peels out like Mario and Dredowitz, and all I'm doing is he's just flooring it. And I'm just looking at the rear, the side view mirror, because I think this thing was coming around and just going to come right at us.
Yeah,
So-
look, this
and I'm
thing
waiting.
had yellow eyes. And
Yep.
when I don't know if it shut the eye shine off or if it closed its eyes and it was
I don't
just
know.
sniffing up. But when those eyes, when I couldn't see it anymore, and I never took my eyes off
Yep.
of it, as soon as I couldn't see it anymore, he was still pissing for like 10 minutes. I got in the car. I backed up as close
Forget
as I
about
could to him. I opened up the passenger door to put the door between him and whatever this thing was. And then he got the heebie-jeebies and he jumped in the car. And I did like Dukes of Hazzard, man.
Yeah.
I got out of there. And but it was crazy because we thought it was a deer, and the closer we got, we were waiting for it to
was
run
big.
off. But it didn't run off, man. It was hunting that hiking trail. Now I don't know if it was hunting deer on that hiking trail or if it was hunting whoever owned that car, but it was hunting that trail.
That's what we both thought the same thing.
Yeah, we both felt the
because
same
it
thing.
was
Felt the
sitting
same
there
energy.
at that car, and I think it was waiting for us, whoever it was, to walk up to the car. Maybe it's a solo person to grab them, and they're done. Here's the thing I always tell you about, right?
There was a car right there. You
My
said there was
car,
a
yeah, my
Al's
Oh,
car.
your car.
So here's the thing that came to me after the fact. I'm 6 feet 1 inches tall. Where we were parked, and if you went down to where that creature was, you'd have to go down a 3-foot grade before it leveled out where you can get to him. That makes me 9 feet 1 inches tall. That fucking thing's snout was about where my nose was, sitting on its haunch.
It's
If
haunches,
that thing
yeah.
stood up, it would have been close to 12 feet tall.
And I think what I think we
That's a
surprised
cue,
it.
Shane. That's a
because
cue,
I-
Shane.
I think it thought we were going to come down off of that hiking trail, but we
Right.
actually came in from across the street. And with our headlamps, we were able to see its eyes because we both had pretty powerful headlamps on at that point. And so I think we threw a monkey wrench into its plans because I think it was waiting for someone to come running down that trail and it was just going to pounce them and take them. But
Yeah.
we came in from the other side, so we had this whole big street, wide open street, to see what we were walking into.
Where did this happen, fellas?
Up in Thales, New York.
Oh,
Yeah, right. It was outside
Is that
of
close to
the
the Pine Barrens?
Letchworth Village Cemetery. That we thought.
Yeah, it's nowhere near Pine Bush, but it's still upstate New York. And Al just froze. Oh my God, they got him. Oh my God. And he'll be back. You're back, Al.
there he is.
Yeah.
Shane, where were you that night? Were you over there
Where was
messing
I?
with him? Where were you that night? Were you over there messing with him in New York?
Right? Well, I wish.
That was
can't
great,
hear
man.
Oh, you got to unmute him. Can you hear us or no?
Who's muted?
Al was like he was doing something with his. He was making the telephone gesture, like I'm on the phone with the White House.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll be back. Look for him. He's going to come back in. Let me tell you something. We were talking about moments where, when I get the goose pimples on an investigation, then I know the shit's going to happen. And it's going to be intense. A lot of times I'll just sense it, and I'll now I just sense it. I know it's going to happen. We've done so many investigations that him and I did he come back in? Check for him, Carlito.
Do y'all
My cousin, brother.
Do y'all cleanse yourself after, during, or before, during, and after the investigation?
I cleanse myself, before and after, always.
Matter of fact, we go in with all kinds of protection, and it's what. And Brian called it that day. I felt like I had something attached to me early on, and I was in denial. And he called me on it the whole day. And then when we left, it detached. And when we came back, I guess it attached itself to me again. But then when we left the second time, it detached. So,
he was just had this.
Wasn't anything negative. I think it was just something that wanted to live through my eyes again,
He had this smile about him. It was just, it's, when you're hanging out with your buddy, that, when they're happy, when they're sad, when they're depressed, when they're fucked up, whatever. You just know these things. And I'm looking at him like, dude, what's wrong with you? And he's like, nothing. And he's smiling. I'm like, dude, that's not fucking Al. I'm like, dude, something's wrong with you. No, I'm fine. And like, it was just, it got to the point that was to the tail end. I said, no, dude, we got to go because I got to get him out of the area. And then we got to do the sage and we sage ourselves. We sage the, our equipment. Al, we do so many different prayers from so many different things, being Catholic, Judaism, Buddha, you name it, to cover all bases. And then Al busts out the, the holy water. And then he every time he does it, he anoints my head and I go, it's burning. It's fucking burning. It's like, would you stop? Would you stop with that? But,
I even do the prayer in Latin. You know what I mean? Just to make sure it sticks.
And then another thing we do is, I do this. I don't care how late it is. When I come home at night, and thankfully, hopefully it's late and no one has cameras, I leave plastic bags by the door. I walk in. I literally strip completely naked, put my stuff in these big garbage bags, tie it up, and I go into the shower, and I use the water to cleanse me totally, completely. Because that's what you need, water. Water is cleanse and the movement of water. And then you need to clean yourself out. And then that's when I go to bed. I won't do it any other way. What happened to Shane?
Shane says just audio. He said he's hearing audio only. I don't know.
Oh. Well, see if he's back down in the
studio.
The pit. Back down in the pit. Yeah. That was pretty sick.
No, he's still in here. It's just audio only.
Okay.
Probably just pause this camera for a second.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry guys. I had to adjust my mask.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, it gets hot after a while. They need to put in these things like some kind of cooling unit.
Right? Like some type of ventilation or something. It's like, man, I'm sweating in here.
Ice packs. I'm sweating my balls off too, man. I got a hood on and everything. So
you got the hood on. I was gonna say you guys gotta be sweating.
Yeah, we are, man. We're sweating, but we're troopers for tonight's show. Carlito wanted this show to go off without a hitch, so we're all good.
I lived up to what I said I was gonna be.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
We all should have dressed like Al tonight. I don't see why we did it.
Who knew there was a costume? Only Brian would come up with the costume,
When you said it and you set up the date and you said you're going as me, I'm like, okay, well, fuck you. I'm going to go as you. And then I said, you know what? I'm not going to go as you, but I'll go as Alfonso.
There you go.
This way,
Alfonso.
Alfonso.
My
was,
doppelganger.
younger brother with
a
twins.
I got a good story for you, Carlito. You'll like this one. I'm doing an interview with Miss B Moss, right? And we got the camera on, and in my dining room, I have a mirror that's a portal. I'm talking to B, and an orb comes out of the mirror, stops over my head, and is looking at her in the camera. And she's like, her jaw drops. She's like, why does a ghost? And then the orb goes out the window behind me. And she goes, did you just see that? I never seen an orb before. I only seen him in pictures. But that orb came out of that mirror and she was looking right at you. And I go, yeah, don't worry. The mirror is a portal. An hour later, we're still doing the interview. The orb comes back through the back window, stops over us again, looks at her again, and she's like freaking out because she can't believe this is going on. And it goes back into the mirror. And the whole time she's like freaking out. I actually still shot all the pictures of the orb coming and going that night when we were live on YouTube. She was freaking out, man. She goes, I'd never seen an orb in real life. She said, only in pictures.
That happens with Al and I on interviews together and separately all the time. In his house, he used to do it with the screens. I forgot what screens you're using when you moved to the other. It's actually the screens you have there, but I think you were downstairs a portion or wherever it was, and you'd see him fly by all the time. And everybody would see
in the dining room. Yeah,
just flew by. And then they'd see, like, I'll tell you another thing. I did Kat Ward's show, Paranormal Heart. She had me on Wednesday. I did it at 2:00 in the afternoon. There's a brand new build in this house. I saged, I salted well before anybody came in, right? I don't feel anything negative here, nothing. The kids complain they hear some noises, but whatever, house settling. This is 2:00 in the afternoon. I got the windows, light from coming in, regular, studio lights. And she goes, "Oh, you just had a shadow figure walk past you."
Oh no.
Right. And then I got contacted yesterday because I've been doing a lot of light workers work, doing a lot of it for a lot of people. And I got contacted by somebody I highly respect and said, you need to cleanse. You're being attacked.
Oh, and wow.
Light workers are being attacked. And let me tell you something. I did cleanse. I don't know if I did it well enough. But I woke up this morning and like on one side of me, right? It was just the weirdest pain I've ever had in my life. So
wasn't a heart attack again, was it?
No.
Okay.
More along the lines of like your gallbladder or your liver.
Okay.
On the side. And I'm like, I've been watching what I'm eating. I've been really, looking out to, drop some weight so I can get into my bikini. And this was weird. This was really, really strange. So when I just burned some Sapalo, and then I'm just going to go out and do it again. There's a great video that I play. It's 7 or 8 minutes long, and it's all about Holy Archangel St. Michael, who is non-denominational, and you can use him to help. You can call on him for help. He will heal you. He will protect you. So.
My brother's got a great photograph. He was out an accident on the road one time. There was a major accident. Car flipped over. Some chick was in the car. He got out. He had a 35mm camera, and he was taking pictures. And the car was like just demolished. And the girl got out of the car and walked away. And in his photograph, he's got a picture of like an angel coming off the roof of the car. It's the craziest picture, man. But it's just there's no other way to describe it. It was just an angel made out of light. You know what I mean? It was light, but it was an angel. And she walked away without a scratch, and the car was just demolished.
That is freaking awesome.
You know how y'all talking about mirrors. When I was a kid, we had gone to this lady because there was a group of women that were praying for this lady that supposedly she was being demonically attacked. So there was this special room where they were praying for her, but I had never been in there because I wasn't allowed to go in there. So I was playing on the trampoline, and they had come out of that room. It was an outdoor room, and they went inside the house. So I got curious to what this room was about. So I went in there, opened the door and closed the door, walked in the room. All you could see around the room was mirrors, right? Nothing but mirrors. So I'm standing in there. Next thing you know, what I'm seeing through the mirrors is this freaking shadow beings looking at me from inside the mirror.
Oh man,
right? They're
no,
looking
don't
at
tell
me.
me that.
They're looking at me. So I'm looking at them. They're looking at me, and they're trying like to reach out, like reaching out to the mirror like this. And there's a lot of them. I guess this location, this woman will pray for people that are being demonized, so they will send the unclean spirit into the mirror. So then they found me in there, and they got me out of there. After that happened, I felt ill, and they had to cure me from ojo. Where they grabbed an egg and rubbed it on me. This is a Spanish ritual that we do. When they cracked the egg, I could see myself in the egg yolk looking at me,
Oh no.
reaching towards me, and he was smiling. He had a wicked smile.
Oh,
And they were praying. They were praying for me. They were praying for me, trying to get this unclean spirit from me. Right. That's what happened to me when I was young.
No,
So
Gabe.
I'm just sharing this that they say when the mirror cracks,
Quarters.
that to get away from it or start praying because there could be something trapped in it coming out through it. So you have to be
Yeah.
careful when there's mirrors.
Yeah.
And I witnessed this. It was a bunch of them, man. I swear. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps, and I don't can't see us right now. I remember this, but it was crazy. That's why I do the spiritual works that I do. Matter of fact, I went to a house. I'm not going to say the person's name out of respect, but he was telling me he had certain things happening to him that diagnosed him with Parkinson's disease, and he's having dreams of being in the coffin and dirt being thrown on him. Like every night, he can't sleep. So I went to his house this past week. In spite of everything that I'm going through, I still went because I love helping people. I'm attending the Love Foundation. So I went to his house and I'm sitting in his living room, right? So we're talking. And next you know, I just feel the presence of something where all my hair just stood up and it's like right there behind me. So I said, and it happened several times as I'm talking to him. I'm trying to find out what's going on and stuff like that. So I said, okay. And he looks at me and said, well, do what you got to do. So I was prepared. And I had already prepared before I went there. So I got up. What I did first is protected the home. I placed crosses on the doorways, on the windows, every passageway where there's a door. I placed crosses. When I went into his bedroom, I could sense the unclean spirit in there. So I kept on placing crosses, and I located this unclean spirit within a room, which was like a little closet. So I placed everything. So I called him to go into the room, and I told him, you need to take authority since you're the head of this house. Take authority over it. You need to take authority over it without fear and tell it it's not welcome here. So he said he's not welcome there and all this, and his hallway was dark in his bedroom. So we went out and we sat down and I started talking to him some more. And when we went back into the room, I said I wanted to do a cleansing on him. I wanted to do the ojo, the egg, carrying the egg, because he was having those dreams of death. So we go into the room, we notice that the hallway is clear and it's got light. The darkness is gone. So I lay him down on the bed, and I started doing the prayer and praying for him, rubbing the egg with the cross and saying the Our Father and praying to God. So I told him to stood up, and I started doing his legs. When I started doing his legs, what I seen when I was doing his legs, image that came to me was death, right? It was death, and I could see somebody stiff like they're dead. So I'm rubbing and I'm praying all over from his waist down, praying and praying and praying and praying. And I cracked the egg.
He did it again.
Uh-oh.
Apparently, you did it again.
So as I crack the egg and place it in there, right? Not even a minute. this is what forms within the egg yolk. Well, it's not even the egg yolk; it's above the egg, a skull. So somebody wished death upon him. You know, somebody put a hex on him,
Yeah.
which was you could see the skull, you could see the eyes and everything, the shape of a skull, and he was like freaking out. You know,
Yeah.
so after I did that, you know, I said, okay, now we're gonna pray. So I grabbed his hands and I prayed for him to be healed. You know, so I prayed for him also. I did three things. So like he contacted me and he said that he's able to sleep now. What was happening to him? I believe he was being demonically attacked. He was hearing tapping sounds on the windows. He was hearing his name being called like 2, 3 in the morning. There was times he said that when he will wake up, he'll be outside his home walking in the street and he don't even know how he got there.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So that was a kind of like a form of possession, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But ever since I prayed and did all this for him, he's able to rest now. He couldn't sleep well. So now he said for the past 4 days he's been able to sleep. To my understanding, something happened yesterday evening, but he remembers what I told him to do. That if something tries to come back in, to rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name, and that's what he did. But I'm trying to help him. You know, I just wanted to share this story with y'all guys. You know,
that's crazy.
that's why I would say I always maintain the Love Foundation. I help out people that when I knew I needed to help them. Check it out. I was at a restaurant, Spanish restaurant.
Right.
And as I'm sitting there fixing to eat, there's a African woman with his eyes rolled white looking at me. I'm like, what the, and that happens to me all the time. So to me, it had to do something with voodoo. So when I looked down and look up, she was gone. But then that man walked in the door, the one I helped, and I could see that he had an attachment on him. And I knew who he was, so I went to go sit down and talk to him, and I told him I could help him. So he took that because he was going through all the stuff that he's going through, and I helped him. But those are the works that I do spiritually.
I don't normally talk about what I can do or can't do. I mean, I talk about remote viewing all the time, but there are other abilities and gifts that take place that are critical, and I'm a science-based individual where Al will probably be trying to come back in, Carlo, to just check on him. But
I'm here. I just getting some water.
Guy, and I'm always questioning, and like I'll have this vision, or I'll have like something, all this take place. I'll tell Al, I'm like, dude, should I tell him? Because if it's so out of this world and out of the blue, then you're gonna sound like a crazy person. And of course, Al goes, yeah, go ahead, tell him, because it's not Al getting, telling him. But I usually get feedback. I'm 98% correct. So from the remote viewing begets other things. So there are other senses that heighten. I can touch things now. I hear things. I can see things, smell, whatever. And every once in a while, there's dream time, and then there's experience time at night. And experience time is totally different than dream time. Experience, you know everything that's going on, all the details. When you wake up, you're usually twice as tired because you've been doing it. So, and that's what would happen. I wake up and I'll alert somebody to something, whatever. So this past August, I had to bring my girls down to Florida because they go to school early down here. So we're going to get some stuff ready for school. And we go into this one restaurant. I said, hey, let's go get something to eat at this place. So it's this restaurant up in near the stores. And when we go in, it's like one of those Fridays type of places, right? It's got the bar and the restaurant. It all looks the same, whatever. We're going to get chicken wings, So when you go in, there's a bar straight ahead and to the left, and then to the right are tables. So there's tables, perpendicular to where the door is and the glass is. And then there's this whole row of tables near the window. But we go into this restaurant. It's me and my youngest daughter's to the left of me, and facing me is my oldest daughter at the table. And this woman comes over, and she's our waitress, really, really nice. It just so happened as she goes away, we give her an order. This other woman comes out, and she's the next row over from us, but you can still see her because she's doing a couple of sections. And I'm looking, and I see her come out. And when I see her come out, the following takes place. I see in my mind's eye, she's in a bar. It's the last call. There's a guy, come on, I'll take you home. It's all right. And she's like, well, I don't know. And she's a little bit cautious. And she's like, come on, you can take us home. And she's like, okay, well, all right, I'll go. I was going to call an Uber, but I'll go. And the next thing I see is her lying in a field in the grass, her eyes bulging out. She's pale white with blue around certain features. She's dead as a doornail. So I'm like, okay, this is fucking bizarre. This is unnerving. I'm a father. I would like, I got to do something. I got to say something. Never happened to me before. I don't know what the hell to do. Right? I've never gone up to somebody and said something like that to somebody. This has never happened really. So I go outside, and I have a choice of people I can call, but I call my friend Cisco, and I said, I need help. This is what happened. What do I do? I want to tell this woman because it's something that's telling me I need to tell this woman. If I was her father, I'd want to know too and do something to stop it. And she's like, and I've never done this before, and I don't want to come off as a lunatic or a crazy person. She goes, no. Hold on. This happens to me all the time. And I'm like, I know it happens to you all the time. So she goes into it and she says, you just tell him, listen, take her aside. Hi, how are you? I'm a medium. I got a caution for you. And you tell her, like, if you're at a bar, don't take the ride from somebody you don't know. Call the Uber. So we finished. I go back inside. My kid's like, are you all right, Dad? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm bugging out because I just see this. And I see this vision. It's all in the same thing. And I'm like, oh, my God. So I muster up the courage. And at the end, I paid the bill. I said, I'll go up there to pay the bill because I'm hoping that she'll come out and I'll get her behind the scenes. I don't have to approach her and she doesn't come out. So I'm about to walk out without telling. Then she comes out. So I walk right at her and she kind of backs out. She has plates. I said, hi, I'm a medium. I have a caution for you. And she's like, well, excuse me? I said, yeah. If you're offered a ride in a bar, don't take it. Call the Uber, please. And she's like, okay. She's like a little freaked out. And I start walking away. I feel better about myself. And she goes, excuse me, what was it again? And I said, I'm a medium. I have a caution for you. Just got it. If you're in a bar, I said, and even like this, and you get approached by somebody, I'll take you home. Don't worry about it. Do not take the ride. You call the Uber and go home. She goes, okay, cool. Thank you. And I walk out. And now I'm freaking out because here's the thing. If something happens to her, I just told her something was going to happen to her that, this is one of my friends who's a really great psychic, doesn't get involved in the police because you become a suspect at that point.
Well, what you could have done, brother, is pray for her. Like, pray for nothing to happen, because sometimes when you think something like that, it could happen. So you do the opposite. You pray.
I totally hear what you're saying, Abe, but this was an urgent type of thing.
Yes.
And I saw the guy's face, heavy set, tannish. So it could have been Latin because we got a ton of them down here, because of Cuba and whatever, and the roots.
Carlito, where you were at?
And the vibe I got from this guy, this is not the first time he's done this.
No, I'm attentive.
Okay. And I'm kind of nervous about that, but I can't approach the police and say, I think you have a serial killer here. But I go home and Cisco sends me this video about Holy St. Michael's, which is 7 minutes. And it's awesome because what it does is it spiritually cleanses you and cuts the cord to connecting to that thing, whatever. So I do it, feeling a lot better. I feel a weight off my shoulders, and then go to bed. Next morning, I wake up and I said, okay, I'm wondering what happened. And I try to focus on this whole thing. And I see the woman, I see her in the bar. And the next thing I know, I see her the next day and she's laughing. And I know this woman was fine. She listened to what I said. And I know that by me going up to this person, this woman's life was saved. I guarantee it. Will I do it again? I don't know. It's a really rough call to do something like that. You know?
I do it all the time, brother. Especially if I'm being led by a higher power to do it. But there's some that they come to me also, but not the good people. The
The negatives.
people that are being bonded come to me and they show themselves. Whatever's controlling them shows themselves through those individuals to me, and I can see right through them. So I go into prayer and I rebuke them in Jesus Christ's name. Then or they leave or they're acting weird. I was
totally hear
having.
you.
Listen, fellas, I'm gonna go. I've been up since 4 this morning. I'm running out of gas, so I'm gonna
calling
bail
bullshit. Calling bullshit.
Bullshit.
It was a great night.
Bullshit.
Had a great time. Miss
How we
So-
say
oh, listen.
in Transylvania? Bullshit.
You're supposed to tuck me in later, brother.
Brian,
What?
everybody bailed on me for tomorrow. I'm going by myself.
Even
My
Mr. Wonderful.
cousin. Well, his other eye is infected. His good eye, so he can't see at all now.
You need to be careful tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going by myself, but I'm going, brother. So I'll
right,
talk
well.
to you guys later on. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Al. You have a good
Be
night.
careful.
Man.
Safe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
I
I wanted to.
that, but
I wanted to ask Shane a little bit because he hasn't really spoken that much tonight, man. And I kind of feel bad.
You're good. You're good.
I
Hey,
want to be like,
it's all
what the
good,
hell am I
brother.
doing here? Yeah.
No, brother. I've been listening the whole time. I love this.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, now,
but-
the way you're wearing that mask, Shane, the way you wear that mask right now, you look like you're from like Mongolia.
Yeah.
Here, let me put it back on real quick.
You're like Genghis Khan. No.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. This is
I know Genghis Khan. I met him a long time ago.
Yeah. No,
Well,
for
you
real,
guys,
dude.
I haven't had a whole lot of creepy stories just from the people I've interviewed, but one thing that did click in my mind was when I was 13 years old. It's not even. It was scary for me because I was 13. This is back in 2003, 2004. My mom took me to the movie, dropped me off to go watch The Grudge. Okay, The Grudge for a 13-year-old kid. I loved horror movies growing up, but I went by myself. That was my first mistake. Well, The Grudge just freaked me out so bad that I ended up having nightmares at night. Every time I kept looking over in the corners or shadows, I'd freak out. I don't know what it is about.
Sorry.
It's all good. But it freaked me out so bad. When I look at a girl with long black hair, I kept thinking The Grudge. Well, I was sleeping in the living room. I fell asleep and I kept thinking about The Grudge. The way she crawls and she makes that creepy sound. I probably could do it a little bit better. I can't do it. But anyways, my sister's best friend was staying the night. Her name was Ashley. Well, at 2:00 in the morning, and I kept tossing and turning. Well, Ashley sleepwalks. My sister told me she sleepwalks. Well, all of a sudden, I look over down the hallway. The door opens up, and I see a silhouette, and Ashley standing right there at the door, just standing there, sleeping or sleepwalking, and her hair is down in her face. I yelled,
Oh shit!
girl, Mom! My mom comes out. What's wrong, sweetie? What's wrong? I was like, Mike, I cannot sleep, Mom. I just saw Ashley, and she had to go walk Ashley back to
That's
the
crazy.
room and lay it back down. Ashley doesn't remember any of this. Even with me screaming, Ashley just stood there in the doorway with her nightgown on and her long black hair, and you just see the silhouette of a woman with long black hair. And I freaked out.
Yeah.
To this day, it's still, we laugh about it now, but like now at 13 years old, I never watched The Grudge again.
Yeah.
It terrified me.
I think there was like a couple of Grudge movies, Grudge 1, 2, and 3, or something like that, or more than that.
Exactly. It's like La Llorona. I will not watch it just because of that. And then there was another incident when we went to Universal Studios. I was probably about 20, 21 years old. And I was with my ex-girlfriend and her family at the time, and we're going through the different creepy little themed, tours, and we went to the La Llorona one, and I brought back a flashback because he had to cross over this little pond that had a bridge. And then when I looked over to my right, there was a La Llorona on stilts, but it was up in the air. And she come walking toward us, and I just yelled like I did when I was 13. And I booked it. I left my ex and her family. I was like, nope. I don't know what it is about women with long black hair and gowns. Flashback. Never doing that again.
Well, I'm glad you never met the Llorona.
I know, right?
For real.
Tell him, you want to tell him about the Llorona? Oh, man. The Llorona is supposed to be a woman that drowned her children. She was seeing a man.
The spirit
guess,
of a woman.
Yeah, well, she was married. She was seeing this guy, and the guy already had a family, and she thought that he was going to leave his family for her, but he didn't. So she blamed the kids, and she drowned her kids, drowned her children. So God punished her to roam the earth forever looking for her children. So that's how the legend goes, where either a creek, a river, or a body source of water, or even if when it's raining, she appears, and she's like in spirit form, and she's got a white veil on her face and white dress.
Yeah, like a wedding dress, kind of.
Like a wedding dress of sort, And my experience with her was, it was raining outside, and I could hear. I was asleep, and so it was a low pitch that hurt my eardrums, and I woke up, and my ears were hurting. Kind of like jet lag. So I'm looking outside to the backyard, and there's a neighbor's light on. So I'm looking, and it's raining, and I go back, lay down, and then I hear. I'm like, what the hell? And then in the distance, I'm thinking that somebody's fighting or something in the backyard. There's a woman crying, from the neighbors. So I said, they're probably fighting. So I'm laying down, and then I hear. And it stops right there by my door, and she's wailing. Man, I get up because I already know the tale of the Llorona. I go to the next room. My brothers are on bunk beds. I'll tell them the Llorona's here. And they're like, shut up, let us sleep. Right by the window. They jumped off the freaking bunk beds. We're running down because our house was long. So we're running down the from room to room. And you can see the Llorona by the windows, passing by the window. So we go to where my mom's at. I had at that time my little sister. She wasn't baptized yet. She was like around a couple of weeks old. So I grabbed my little sister because she's looking for her kids, and she'll go after kids that are not baptized. So I'm telling my mom, the Llorona's here. The Llorona's here. She's like, cállate los hocico, huerco pendejo, which means shut the hell up, stupid kid, And next thing you know, she passes right by the window. You could see her through the window. The curtains are open. You could see her silhouette, see her. And my mom, and she stops in the front door of the house, and she's wailing. And I'm like this, and I said, Mom, do you want me to open the door? And she's like, no, huerco pendejo, leave it closed. That's a Llorona. So freaking my mom's praying the Our Father, she's praying, and I got my little sister, and then next thing you know, she goes through the front yard, through the link fence, down the street. So we all go outside, and we're looking at her going up the hill, and takes a left. As it goes to the left, this is what we hear. Brakes hit, like boom, a loud thud, a loud thud. So we go out there, it's still raining. There's all the people from the neighborhood who heard this. So we all go out there. There's a 16-wheeler that's flipped sideways and hit the gas station, Luckily, it didn't hit the fuel pumps. So the cops come, and they're asking them what happened. I said, well, I was driving, and there was this woman in white that got in front of my truck. So I didn't want to hit her, and I dodged her. When I dodged her, I lost control of my truck, and I flipped it. So
Wow.
he seen her that he thought he was literally like a person that his truck went out of control. He didn't want to hit her.
Damn.
But the Llorona, she goes after children that are not baptized, and at times she will come after somebody that's being unfaithful, somebody that's cheating on their spouse, because I guess because of how the guy, the relationship was in, what happened. But that's the experience I had of the Llorona. And another time, my dad had stopped on the Midover Bridge when we used to go work up north. We used to work in Arkansas, and we're there was a river below us, and he shut off the car, and they said, "Look, I bet you the Llorona is going to come, right?" So as we parked there on the bridge, you could hear her wailing from a distance, and it's sounding closer and closer and closer. And when it sounded real close, he turned on the car and leaves. But she's around, It's just I just hope nobody encounters her, like the way I've experienced this. Where I come, there's a lot of agriculture, a lot of creeks, a lot of canals. So there's numerous times that she's been spotted in my town. That people say, "Oh, we got her trapped in this room," but when they open the room, is she's not there because she's a spirit form. But I just want to share this story with you.
Lakes, I think, even lakes and stuff like that. Yeah, like gloomy, with the little. What is it called? Damn it, the fog and shit right over the lake.
Creeks, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you ever hear a woman wailing like that, that's probably her looking for her children.
I have 3 women that wail all the time, but there's something similar, and I'm gonna have to probably jet in a little bit because I'm getting messages.
Yeah.
My daughter has a sleepover, so I have to. For a minute. But so my dog was buried. So I buried my dog in a pet cemetery in Westchester County, and you can see it on the main road. But there's a back entrance. You have to go around all the way to the back. You park the car there. So I went and parked the car there, and I went to go visit them, say hi, and I come out, and I'm not afraid of anything except the doctor going, "It's a girl." Okay. That's about as afraid I'm going to get. And out of nowhere on this back street, there's an old Chinese woman that appears out of nowhere, and she's walking right at me. Now, they have a ton of they used to have a ton of Japanese men and women that live in that area, but not the Chinese woman. And she was Chinese. I know the difference between some of the dialects. I heard it. And she's walking at me, and my spidey senses kicked in. I said, "That's not what I'm seeing. That's something else." And how many times have you heard that story? Like, there was a woman who just came up to me and helped me. The next thing you know, they took their soul. And I said to her, "Don't even bother. Move on." And I held my ground. And there was this, for a split second there was a look on that thing's face that, like, okay, I'll get you next time type of thing. It literally knew that I knew something was up. There was something so not right about this. It's not a place you would walk. Even if you lived in the area, you don't walk there. It was so out of place. And I knew, and I'm right by this cemetery. There's like a convent, small convent near. Like, this woman was not a woman. This was something disguised as a woman and trying to get real close. And I said, "Keep moving on." I know I'm looking right at, and I gave this woman such a look, or whatever it was. Like,
did you ever look to the feet? Ever look to the feet, brother? Do you ever look at the feet? Because that's not like the deer woman. You have to look at the feet because that's where it's got the beastly look. It's the feet.
Yeah, well, I look at everything, and she was just, there was something about this woman that wasn't right. This was a siren. This was one of those things, and I'm like, wow, I've heard about this because you're talking about The Grudge, right? A lot of ancient folklore talks about these type of things. And this used to be a heavily Asian area.
Oh
And,
wow.
and it's just, it could be remnants that are there looking to get something. You know, it's crazy. So I may have to go. It's
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go pretty soon too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's about time for us to wrap it up, anyways, guys. But Shane, did you want to add anything else, bro? Or like any scary story or any?
I don't have any other than that one. I
Okay.
wanted to let you guys know.
Oh, okay,
all in
okay,
bullshit, Shane.
that's cool. No,
All
that's
bullshit.
cool. Okay, well, guys, then I guess we'll go ahead and conclude the show tonight, man. You know, we've been on here, I think, long enough, and everybody got a chance to speak and tell a little encounter or story or two. So yeah, we did good, man. I think it was great, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for making it happen, Carlito.
Yeah,
Hey,
man.
thanks for
Yeah.
having Carlito. You
Yeah,
guys, happy
brothers.
Halloween. We'll see you later.
I got a long flight to
Thank you, each and every
Transylvania.
one of you guys for being here tonight, man. Thank y'all, man. You,
Gotta go get some Sambuca and
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
a Napoleon now.
yeah. Thank you, Squatch Fodder. Thank you, Squatch Fodder,
Thank you,
for
Squad.
not calling bullshit. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, bro. All right, Shane. Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. Abe, thank you
Thanks,
too,
you.
man, and everybody in the chat. Thank you, guys. I think we had an awesome night, man, for being our first Halloween special live show,
That was
man.
cool.
Thank you, guys.
And
You
blessings
guys
to
make this-
Goomba and his family. So
Yes, absolutely.
maybe next year he'll join us.
Yeah. Hopefully, man. Hopefully. Well, all right, guys. That being said, we're gonna go ahead and cut the show off and have a happy Halloween, everybody. Thank you.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you, everybody, for sticking around and watching the show to the end, man. Thank you. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good night.
Eric.